Hello, hi, this is Susan, and as you can see, I am back in Spain. So normally how I do these sessions is they're pretty informal. It is a live stream. So if you're here listening now, well, fantastic. I always hold these live streams on a Thursday, which is 2:30 UK time. So you can feel free to put that in your diary. If you've not heard of me before, then my name is Susan. I am a global career coach. So what does that mean? It means that I can help you to get hired. And basically what I'm trying to say to you is the ability to get hired quicker than you doing it yourself. We're also, and a big point of this, is that the way that I work is it's about basically trying to attract companies to you so you're not having to do all the work. So in some senses, I focus on two things: getting you hired and building you as the go-to person for your industry. Okay, so I'm actually from the UK. I've been spending maybe since October I've been in Spain, and this is where we currently are at the moment. So what is this session about? This session is all to do with kind of looking at why job search is pretty similar to basically dating online. And if you kind of think of it in this way, it is so important. And I'm going to help you to see kind of the common mistakes people are making when they're trying to get themselves that job. Okay, so I tend to help people who are really high up, or looking to get into that, high up position. I tend to focus on that executive level. And the things that I'm seeing time and time again is that the things that you're doing are just not professional enough. Okay, so let's go back to basics. Let me explain what I mean. If you're dating or you're going on a date, then generally speaking, we make the effort. We will probably kind of think about what we're wearing, how we're going to be on that date, where we're going to go. And all I'm going to try and say to you is that you've got to take that kind of thought process and really look at it from your CV and from your LinkedIn profile. So if we think of it like this, we're trying to up-level ourselves. The thing is, and this is really true, most people don't see it like this. So what they've got on their CV or what they've got on their LinkedIn profile is basically average at best. So think about what I'm trying to say to you. If I'm saying to you, you need to be given the impression that you are the go-to person for your industry, then surely you need to be putting your best foot forward. Yet what I find out time and time again is that people are kind of using a very carbon copy approach. In fact, what people are doing is basically, it doesn't matter where in the world that you live or what basically position you've got. There's one thing that I've noticed time and time again that's particularly true is the fact that we all basically do our LinkedIn profiles in a very generic way. Which is, go and check your LinkedIn profile, because I'm sure I'm going to prove that I'm right with this, is that your summary profile, if you have one, and by the way, you should, because this is the most important part to your profile, or one of the key things that it is, you need to be making sure that this really articulates to a company why you are the best person. So if I was working with a client, I help you to really work out your USP, your unique selling points, and why that matters to a company. Yet time and time again, if I look at generally 99% of people's LinkedIn profiles, you are basically sounding the same, and you will kind of talk about, the fancy adjectives. I've run a team. I'm a great motivator. This means little. Let's really be frank here. This means little to the reasons why you should get hired. So think about what I'm trying to say to you. You need to be kind of really up-leveling yourself and different yourself from everybody else. Because if everybody else is doing it this way, surely there's a sign that you need to be running in the opposite direction and doing it where you get noticed, so you get hired, okay? You cannot get a job without getting yourself noticed. That's fact. That's why if you've kind of, if you're on my email list, and if you're not, you want to be, so jump over to the linkedinsuccessacademy.com and go and download a copy of my book, which is Get Companies Chasing You for free. Otherwise, you can buy it from LinkedIn and Amazon even. I'm sure the obvious choice would go to my website. But what I'm trying to say to you is that you need to differentiate yourself. You need to look different from the average Joe blogs that is simply saying, hey, I'm a great team player, I'm a great motivator. It is not your USP. So I work with clients to work out your unique selling point, why that matters for the companies, that potentially want to hire you. So basically, how you appear is critical. Yeah, just if you were going on a first date with somebody, the clothes that you wear are going to be really important. I'll give you another analogy. Let's think about, potentially, in some senses, you want to be seen as a 5-star hotel. Yeah, the reality is that most people are maybe 2 or 3 stars, and that's just not good enough. It's not good enough for those high level jobs. You need to be doing a lot more. You need to be standing out, and you need to be showcasing, the difference between you and the next person. Because only by doing this, that you make it easier for that hiring manager or even that recruiter, when they come across you, to understand why they should be actually having a conversation with you. So that's the reason why we're doing this. We're just using potentially 2 documents in some senses, because for the majority of people, they've not heard of you. Okay, you have not actually built your brand. Okay, they've not heard of you before. So another great point to make at this kind of point in the conversation is that you have failed in some senses. Well, for most people I have, so don't take it in a bad way, but you've been good within the 4 walls of the company that you currently work for. But outside those 4 walls, not many people know you exist. And if people don't know you exist, how can you ever get companies chasing you? You can't. So that's why foundations are absolutely critical, because this is the only way that they can evaluate you. You're an intangible. You're not a pen. Okay, we can't touch, feel you. Okay, you're a pet. You're a service. That's what I'm trying to say. You're a service. So therefore, the only way that they can try out that service is actually to hire you. So you're a gamble. So what I'm basically trying to say to you is that you take away some of this guesswork by basically making sure that what you produce is 5-star. And it's got to be for the level of job that you're wanting, particularly if it's a high level job. You can't mess around with this stuff. It needs to be that level. Okay, so I'm hoping that I've made it really clear why you actually need those killer, foundations. They're absolutely critical. Yeah, because it's going to make the difference between you getting to interview or not. The problem is that most people feel that actually, I'm going to spend, this is the reality of what happens. What most people will do is go round and round in a circle. They will go from website to website. They will find out different competing opinions about who said this, who said that. And then all that happens is that you get completely confused in terms of how you should be doing this LinkedIn profile and this resume. Let me just stop you from doing this for a second. Ask yourself, why do you get hired? Think about what I'm saying. Why do you get hired? You get hired because the company's got a problem. That's the only reason why you get hired. So surely this will stop you going round and round in circles. And that's why when I work with a client, is that we look at that one reason, okay? We work out your USP, your unique selling point, and that becomes the focus of the LinkedIn profile that we create. It becomes the focus of the resume and CV that we create. Because anything else is fluff. It actually doesn't matter. We need to focus on that main reason. So that's really how I work. And I'm hoping that that also shows you why that should help you to stop looking at competing opinions, because when you get to the real crux of the matter, that is the only thing that really matters. Okay, so what I'm trying to say to you is that you can continue to try and do this, the trial and error approach, or you can kind of look at this and go, actually, maybe I need to invest, properly once and for all to make sure those documents are actually the best that they can be. Because once you've got those documents, yeah, it's kind of like riding a bike. You've got them for life. Yeah, you don't never know how to stop learning to ride a bike or swim, for example. You've got it for life. So once you've got this, it's kind of an investment in you, because that investment is going to pay off time and time again. So there's the questions that you need to ask yourself. Do I continue to do this by trial and error? And when you continue to do this by trial and error, guess what happens? You lose out. You lose out on opportunities because you are guessing what needs to be done. Simple. But if you're shown straight away, actually, this is the things that you need to be doing from day one, it means when that opportunity does appear, you're ready. You're ready to actually take that to the next level. Okay, so hopefully you can see visually how you present yourself online in a CV is absolutely critical. So even if I was working with a client, we would actually be creating 2 resumes, 2 CVs. And the reason why we do this is because I believe that you should have 2 for one reason. One is for the job sites, so the boring black and white, CV, and the creative one that basically catches people's attention. So, the one that you can send direct to the hiring manager. We want to catch people's attention, because you and I know if they've got 100, boring black and white CVs, if something looks visually pleasing, and we're not talking about made in a completely complicated software package, we're just talking about Microsoft Word, okay, so this is doable, then if something looks the part, it's more likely to take or get that second look. And that's all we're trying to do. And that is what we're trying to achieve with what we do for you, okay? So it's really important that you consider, the foundations are absolutely critical. I'm going to give you another tip here as well, okay? So this is from what I believe you should be doing. Or even your email signature should be looking the part. And, a great email signature, it should have what I call is a call to action. So a call to action is directing me or is telling me what I should do. That's what we need to do. We need to always tell people what you would like them to do. So one of the things that I say to my clients is, I'd like you to create your email signature. And for example, particularly once we've created a fantastic, LinkedIn profile, we want to be trying to leverage that. Yeah. So you don't want to be doing this if you've got an average LinkedIn profile, because it's not actually going to help you. Yeah, it's just going to take somebody to something that's average. If we're going to do this, we do it properly. So an email signature should have a call to action. It could be connect with me on LinkedIn. And you might be saying, well, why would I want to be doing this? Why wouldn't you? Because surely if you're in this job search game at the moment, then you are going to be maybe talking with potential recruiters or hiring managers. So we're just using everything, to leverage together. And that's another common mistake that I see as well. Another great common mistake that I see people making is they use a lot of the stuff in isolation. So they've got their CV or resume here, they've got the LinkedIn profile here, they've got the email signature, and none of it is working together. None of it is actually glued up as a strategy, which it should be. So let me explain. Your CV or your resume should be pointing me towards your LinkedIn profile. Yeah? For some people, it's even appropriate that you could even upload your CV to your LinkedIn profile. It's not applicable to everybody because, you know, you might be in a job, so it's not going to be, you know, a good idea for you to do that. But you can see what I'm trying to say. We're now looking at how we can join these elements together. So it's really important to see it like this. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, so we've realized that actually looking the part, being professional, is pretty much kind of like that online dating in terms of how you dress, how you come across. It's exactly the same mentality that you need to be taking towards your job search. But the next stage that we need to be doing is we actually need to get you more visible. The next thing that we need to be doing, so for example, let's imagine, I don't know, that potentially you're looking for that partner. Then if you're doing that, you probably maybe register with a number of, I don't know, dating sites, for example. Or maybe, you know, if you know that you're, for example, staying in 7 days a week, it's going to have a very limited chance that you're actually going to get the outcome that you want. So what I'm trying to say to you, in the same kind of sense, you need to have some kind of strategy. Most people don't have strategy when it comes to job search. Most people have what I call an ad hoc approach. So an ad hoc approach is very simplistic, is that you see a job, you ping off your CV or resume, whatever you want to call it, and you kind of cross your fingers and you hope that actually it is successful, that you hope that you actually get invited to interview. That is not a job search strategy. That is simply a CV strategy. That's all you've got. It's nothing more. So when I work with clients, we look at it in a two-way system. It's really interesting, okay? It's really interesting, so please pay attention to what I say. Most people have got a one-way system in terms of, you know, here you go, I'm doing all the hard work, I'm applying for all these opportunities, I'm networking, I'm doing the hard work. What if we could actually change this approach, where we could actually generate a two-way system where, yes, you are outwardly looking for opportunities, but you're also attracting companies to you? Wouldn't that be a smarter, more productive way to work? And that's what you kind of need to be thinking about. You need to be able to work smarter, not harder. And that's what I do with my clients. We will look at, okay, what is your potential job search strategy that you should be doing on a day-to-day basis? And trust me, it's more than sending or pinging your CV or resume to the nearest job. You need to have a system. You need to be accountable. Yeah? How easy it is for us to kind of be motivated on day one, but by day 28, yeah, we haven't got that motivation. Accountability is really key as well. And you need to be accountable for yourself. But first of all, what I find with clients is that they do not have a structure. They do not know what that plan needs to be. And again, that is something that is how I can help a client, again, to move forward. So you have got a productive plan in order for you to get from A to B. And it could be that simple. Yeah? So these are the things that you could, you could be kind of looking at doing. Yeah? You could be looking at the traditional networking, which is what everybody does. But I do feel that there's an interesting way that we could take this. So let me give you some ideas. I really believe that it doesn't need to be where you're kind of doing all the hard work. I also believe that you don't kind of need to be waiting for opportunities to come to you. Sometimes you actually need to make the opportunities. You need to create the opportunities yourself. So if you find, for example, you are getting stuck by HR, or you feel that your CV or your resume is getting stuck into cyberspace and you never hear back, then there's something amiss here, and we need to look at why that is happening. But it also may mean that maybe we miss out HR altogether and we look at it a different way. So another way that I work with clients is I actually use what I call a show and tell letter. So the show and tell letter is identifying, the companies that I would love to work for. And it's a spin, okay? Let's be honest, it's a spin on the cover letter. But the cover letter tends to be kind of like, hey company, you've got all the power. I'm here, please hire me. Let's move away from this in this instance. Let's show them the value that you can bring to the table. So I actually help clients look at this and actually have got ready-made scripts for people to actually look at how they can implement their own show and tell letter for the companies that they would love to work for. And this kind of is going away from the passive approach, and it's looking at becoming more reactive, more proactive, I think is a better word. And that is exactly what you need to be doing. You need to be proactive in your job search. And I'm not going to lie to you, you are probably going to have to do things that are maybe things that you've not really done before. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do those things. Because at the moment, most people's job search is very passive. You wait for opportunities. When I'm working with a client, yes, I teach you the old school approach. You see a job, you apply for that job. But it doesn't just need to be like this. You can be proactive. You can reach out to those employers, and I can help you make this a lot easier by really showcasing you, well, how can we do this? How can we do this where we're going to get a better result? You know, one of the key things that I find that clients struggle with is, well, I would love to expand my network. I've moved to a new area. I don't know many people. It doesn't matter. We can help you to do this where it leads to the outcome that you want. All of this, in some senses, is to achieve one outcome. It's to get you into conversation with the right people who can hire you. So I'll give you another example of how I work. And this is particularly interesting, okay? Most people see LinkedIn as a pretty CV online or a pretty profile online. How about we change this? How about we start looking at how it can be leveraged as a database? Think about what I'm saying to you, a database. A database allows you to target people that are the right people for you. So the right people for you are going to be your recruiters, your hiring managers. That's powerful stuff, and it literally turns the job search, you know, a full 360 in your favor. And that's the type of thing that I help clients with. So I'm hoping that you kind of see that a lot of the things that were taught about job search, you know, these things have changed. Yes, you can still do this approach, but it is not the only way to get hired. I need to kind of emphasize this. The fact that I'm sitting here now, okay, is probably not typical, okay, for a typical career coach. but it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. All I'm trying to say to you is if you want to get hired, you've got to have killer foundations and you've got to be prepared to be more visible. And we're not talking about Kim Kardashian. We're not talking about that you've got to do these videos like I'm doing here, but you do need to be seen because it's visibility in some senses that is the key bit, the missing component that is actually going to always get you those job opportunities. Sometimes, and what I teach clients to do is the best way to get yourself hired is actually when you're not looking for a job. That's pretty annoying, I know that is, particularly if you need a job now. But the way that you do this is that you understand that even when you do get hired, and listen carefully, even when you do get hired, you are likely to make this big mistake. And the big mistake is that you are going to go back to being good within the four walls of the company that you work for now. And you're going to make the mistake of nobody knowing you exist outside of those four walls. And when you make that mistake, it will cost you dearly. Because if nobody knows that you exist, you can never, ever get companies chasing you. So I'm really hoping that this session has been quite intense in some senses. But I'm hoping that it kind of showcases how you need to be treating job search. It is probably not what you thought. It can be a lot more involved and it can put you back in the driving seat. So if you like my approach and you'd like to know more about how I work, feel free to come and check me out on LinkedIn. My name is Sue Burke. Okay, you can also go and find my website, which is the linkedinsuccessacademy.com. Feel free to go and download my book. It's completely free. It's called Get Companies Chasing You. And hopefully I will see you next week, Thursday, 2:30 UK time. Take care.